Remember who you are. Remember who you are.
So welcome everyone. I want to thank you guys so much for attending this workshop and of course for being at this amazing event. My name is James Schaub. Some people call me Jim or Jimmy. I've been living in Columbus for a little over 20 years. Grew up in Northern Ohio. I've been experiencing various paranormal phenomena throughout my life, mostly UFO activity. I started seeing ships in the sky when I was about 5 or 6. I've always been curious about, like science fiction things. I always watch shows like Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek and, all those spacey things. And I felt like I had some kind of connection to that some way, somehow. I was always attracted to the fantastical capabilities that people had, or the technology that they had, or just traversing through space and encountering other beings and whatnot. And so it led me to become a researcher in paranormal activity and also extraterrestrial phenomena and just various things about spirit and things that most people have no idea exist. But my real passion is the evolution of consciousness. I do love talking about the extraterrestrial presence here on Earth at the moment, and I love seeing the ships in the sky. I love taking pictures of them, and also I feel like it's time for me to step into a role where I'm sharing what I've come across and my information and pieced it all together with my truth, and then display it to you, and you guys can take with it, take what you want out of this classroom, whatever connects with you. I'm not here to, tell you what to do or say how it is, or, I'm more of a guy who just likes to share things and hopes that that I will help you somehow, that it will help you get in better spirits. So. You might have noticed my sweatshirt says Team Light. I am part of an organization out of Sedona, Arizona. It's basically a group of star seeds that are here to change the planet. That's basically what's going on here. Helping with energetic tools, helping with the evolution of consciousness, helping get connected with our higher selves, and basically to raise our own vibrations and then teach other people how to do the same, because that's really where we're at right now as far as getting rid of our shadow selves that I'm going to be talking about in this class. And it's something that is very controversial because most people don't like to look at their own darkness. And I feel that I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to speak on this subject because of the research that I've done, because of the experiences I've had, because of the interactions with people in my life and who I'm associated with, but most importantly is because now is the time. So yeah, I might say things that might be uncomfortable You may not agree with me, but like I said, I'm just sharing my truth with you all, and you can take what you'd like. So what do I mean by shadow selves? We all have the skeletons in the closet. We all have our little things that we've hidden in the past, hidden from our, things from our past that we kind of keep tucked away and hidden, and that we try and suppress them so these things don't rear their ugly heads, right? You may catch yourself being triggered by someone or something, like road rage, or a partner you're with, or political view. Maybe you're sitting somewhere and you run into someone. Let's say you're having a beer at the bar and you run into someone and they're talking about Donald Trump or whatever, and all of a sudden you're in this heated conversation, and then you might end up being this. This person might end up being a buddy of yours, or you may be like, my God, I wish that never happened. But the reality of it is that you attracted that to you somehow, and it was a way of a mere reflection showing you what you need to work on, or areas that you might be falling short on, and gives you an opportunity to fill in those gaps with understanding and peace, and of course love and light. And so. I'm going through my own trials and tribulations at the moment, and I'm not afraid to be transparent about that. I have a relationship that's been troubling me, and it's been the greatest mirror of my life. It's been the greatest reflection of my life. It's been such a blessing and somewhat of a curse at the same time, only because I have been in denial of some of my own issues, but the gratitude that I have for this is just beyond words, because I know that we had, before we even got here, we made an agreement to come into each other's lives when we needed it the most, and to help us overcome the obstacles that we have set up for ourselves. And also the programming that we've succumbed to from our parents and from our political systems and religious constructs and so on and so forth. See, the problem I have with religion is that it doesn't really teach you how to, in my opinion, I feel like it doesn't really teach you how to truly connect with spirit and dig deep to where you can really find those core problems within yourself. It's always about external things with religion. It's like, oh, just go say 20 Hail Marys or prayers or whatever, and you're forgiven, right? Well, to me, that doesn't work at all. I feel that it's more about being able to look in the mirror and say, okay, why is this happening? What is going on inside of me that has caused this to show up in my life at this point in time? Okay, and that right there is a very hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, because our egos get in the way. We're constantly thinking, well, I shouldn't have to deal with that, or why do I have to, why does it have to happen right now, or the timing is never right. The timing will never be right. But that's your ego telling you that. But in spirit, it's always right. So when you this is kind of a two-parter lecture. So I'm making sure you guys come back tomorrow too. I speak at 2 o'clock tomorrow. But my talk tomorrow is called Reconnecting with Spirit. So the idea is, once we face our own demons, shadows, whatever you want to call them, and we recognize those things for what they are and why they showed up at that time, then once we make the decision to deal with those things, then we can get rid of the excess baggage and all the stuff that slows us down, and then start getting more acquainted with spirit and having a more fruitful life. Because what they always say, it's like, work on yourself, then help others do the same. That's how it goes. And that's why the famous quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world," is like so relevant to everyone. No one is exempt from that quote. Okay, We're all here on this giant rock floating through space. It's the mothership, okay? And this is basically, some would call it spiritual boot camp, which I do call it that sometimes, but I also call it manifestation camp, or creating your reality camp. Because this in this 3D world, this is where anything goes. This is free will. This is where thoughts become things. This is where things can manifest out of thin air. This is where, you know, the matrix is, the light encoded reality. You know, this is more powerful than you can ever imagine, and it's such a blessing, even though there's so many horrible things that happen here with like terrorism and child abuse and you know, so many innocent lives, especially with animals, and so many just innocent consciousness being affected and being oppressed and being harmed for no good reason whatsoever, really. It's mostly out of fear. It's pretty much all out of fear, you know, because they don't understand where they're at in their life. They don't understand why they're here. They think they're just walking around in a meat suit, and that we're, you know, just here by accident, that we came from some kind of pond scum, and here we are. Hello, now what? Now let's go to Vegas. What are we going to do there? You know, you see what I'm saying? It's not just all for nothing. It is spirit animating a physical body in the third dimension to experience certain things for our own evolution, so that we all may rise up. We make the grand decision as a collective human consciousness, and we decide that enough is enough. No, the oppression has to stop. The killings have to stop. But there's levels within levels of this. You know, it does start with ourselves, but it also has to do with our circles, the people that we attract in our groups, our family even. And we have to basically share the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience that we have. We have our own responsibility to do so, because we learn, teach, we learn, teach, we learn, teach. We don't always get it right. We stumble. Heck, I stumble all the time. I'm going to mess up this lecture today. I know it, you know. But I don't care, you know, because I'm just being me. A lot of you guys know me, and some of you don't. I'm like a cool dude, you know. But my point is that, you know, we're really getting to a point where our full understanding, our collective consciousness, has to make a grand decision to rise up and make the decision to not take the crap anymore. And we can shake off the constructs that have been holding us down for so long. And most of the constructs that are in place, we don't even know exist. A lot of it's energetic. A lot of it has to do with just, you know, altering texts in religious books and whatnot, to where, you know, they'll give you some truth, but they don't give you the full story. It's kind of like the movie The Secret. Like, a lot of people are familiar with the law of attraction and whatnot. A lot of that is true, but there's so many factors involved. The thing I didn't really care for about that movie is that they don't talk about spirit enough. They don't talk about the multiple aspects of yourself that make all these decisions for all of your beings. You know, you're not here just hanging out and then you're making choices with your, you know, chemical computer here, your processor. You're being guided and directed by not only all of your higher selves, all up on your stream, all the way to source, but also your spirit guides that help your higher selves, which can be like relatives and old, you know, comrades and friends from ancient past and whatnot. But all of those factors are working together and helping you right here, jacked into this reality, to make a change in this place, okay? And once you become conscious of that reality, you realize that you're never alone, which is comfort, there's a level of comfort with that. But also you have purpose. You know, you have actual reason for being here. You know, the way the ego is now is much different than how it was originally intended, in my opinion. I feel that the ego was for keeping you on your spiritual path, but in keeping your individuality. But now I feel like it's more about like material things and competition and fighting each other and separation and I'm sorry?
I'm agreeing, separation.
Okay. Cool, yeah. And so we battle our egos constantly. You know, it's like our lower self. You know, because and it's the piece of us that plays probably the greatest illusion in our 3D reality. But what's really going on, what I've come to understand, is that when you clear your mind and you allow you make the chatter stop, basically, and you can allow the stream coming in from your higher selves, then you are basically channeling yourself from the higher realms, and you are getting truth and things that actually benefit you and guidance, and so you can navigate this place better. Okay. But throughout all of our lives, starting from the very beginning, I mean, heck, when we're born, we get spanked in the butt, and it's like, really, thanks for the warm welcome, you know. And then they proceed to stick a bunch of needles in you with vaccines, and then, you know, you're stuck in this foreign place, you know, hospital, and then you get to go and live out your life, But then shortly after that, it starts the dogma and the indoctrination and the programming, and it never stops. So that's why it's so important to be really conscious and be present of where your thoughts and sight and energy are going at any given time. Because in reality, one of the pieces that is missing from the law of attraction, the movie The Secret, is being in that present moment and making a grand decision and putting all of your effort and energy into it, no matter what. If it's for your greater self, your greater good, the greater good of people around you, you are going to know that it is because of what is reflected back to you. Okay. But but a lot of people get caught up in like the reality TV, and they get caught up in the politics and the shenanigans that happened in Chicago a couple days ago with the Trump supporters and the circus. It's a freaking circus, okay? And I decided several years ago to take a step out of that programming and get more connected with spirit, and it's been so much better. It's been so much better because I feel that I'm not as easily influenced by bullcrap. I feel like my intuition is getting stronger. I can pick up on people's energies better. I'm attracting better people in my life. And that's because I made the decision to say, okay, I'm going for truth no matter how ugly it is. Okay? But truth always floats to the surface. You can't get away from it. If you are, it's like kind of like that saying, what you resist persists. Well, if the universe is determined to show it to you, you are going to have to deal with it. Otherwise, you're going to be suffering. And that's part of why transmuting your shadow selves is a way of saying, okay, I got to face this. I got to work through it. I got to get over it. And I got to make sure that I learn the lesson and it never happens again. And that's really what it's about, because once you make that conscious decision, the universe is like, okay, cool, this guy gets it, on to the next, right? And the next might be ugly too, but that's okay, because it's like, all right, we're in a time where there's great change, there's cosmic energy coming in, there's more lights in the sky, people are waking up every day. Well, obviously those things that are happening, as far as like a lot of the ugliness that you see in the world, is like I said, it's a reflection. The reason why we have something like the Illuminati on this planet is because we have those kind of thoughts in our collective consciousness. We have it as a whole, as a collective, as humanity all together. We have not made, like I said, made the grand decision to say enough is enough. We are allowing the Illuminati here on part of our existence, on part of one of our levels. Okay, does that make sense? So, again, it's about making decisions. It's about what you're going to take and not take anymore. It's about digging deep. It's about not being afraid of yourself. Not being afraid of your own light. Some people are more afraid of their own light than they are of their own darkness. There's people like, oh yeah, I like this darkness stuff, let's go. And their life's chaotic, got drama, and they wonder why they can't have any peace in their life. Well, that's probably why. They're too comfortable with their darkness. Instead of like, they're settling is what they're doing. They're not striving for more, they're just settling. And but as I was saying to my friend Carrie earlier, it's like, once you make these choices, once you decide that, like, okay, you know what, I don't care what's going on here as far as like, the propaganda and whatnot, I'm going to disconnect, I'm going to unsubscribe from that. And I love this, I want to share this with you. This is one of my favorite things. It's important for all of us to unsubscribe from our issues. It's like getting rid of a magazine that we don't want. I don't want that. I don't want this magazine anymore. You unsubscribe from the issue. And that's kind of how we are transmuting our shadow selves. We're unsubscribing from this programming, we're unsubscribing from this propaganda, we're unsubscribing from the pain that we've felt, that we've carried around for so long, that we don't want to carry around anymore. And again, it's all about the choices you make. It's all about where your consciousness is going. It's all about how much you're living in the present. If you're living too much in the past, you're probably going to be depressed. If you're living too much in the future, you're probably going to have anxiety. But the key is your greatest manifestation abilities, your greatest creation abilities happen in the present. That's when you're most focused. And that's where consciousness can really come in and do its work, because you're basically allowing it to. You're not daydreaming off and like, oh man, I remember in 1995, we were at the club, and sometimes, I catch myself living, longing for those days, because I'm a huge music fan, and sometimes you just like remember, it's like, oh man, I remember that concert, like just the feeling and how, just the vibe of everyone, just how the band just brought it, and, it's everything you dreamed of, and you wish you could bottle it up and just, experience that whenever you want, and some people do bottle it up, and it's called alcohol. And I've had my own battles with that for about 10 years. And most people don't know that, and I'm not afraid to say that right now to you here and on camera, and whoever else sees this, because it is part of my duty to be transparent with you. It's part of my duty to be truthful as possible with you, and know that I'm not exempt from this crap either. I deal with this stuff every single day. And again, once I kind of feel like I put the pieces of the puzzle together, I like to share. And so, I was the party guy. I've been a DJ for 24 years. I did the rave scene. I was a bartender for 10 years. I did some crazy stuff. But that was a time in my life where I didn't understand how spirit worked. I wasn't ready to dive in to my purpose, my passion yet. And so I was basically doing a lot of escaping. And I built this reality that was a fantasy, and I was attached to the fantasy. I was attached to the sound, the lights, the feeling, and that's just amazing, because we all love music. We all certain songs make us feel certain ways, and we try to keep our vibes high and whatnot. If we're depressed, we put on something angry and like, some crazy metal music or something. But when I'm a web designer, that's kind of like my day job, and when I'm home working and I'm cranking out stuff, and I literally have like chill out music playing. I have very beautiful ambient music playing in the background, and it just kind of helps me float along my day. I feel like I am not as susceptible to problems that come up, because I have problems every single day. I'm like the problem solver on the internet, okay? And it gets very, very challenging. I get very upset sometimes, but sometimes I'll just put on I'll put on like iTunes free internet radio, and this stuff just plays all day. And every half hour I'll hear like a really great song. I was like, oh, this is so good. And you kind of feel like your vibe's getting up there again. You can just keep going. You're like, oh yeah, I can go another 3 hours. And that's the kind of thing that you set up for yourself, your surroundings. It's like, right now my desk is a mess, so it's kind of like a bad example. But it's really, what's going on here is what's going to go on out there. So obviously, if my desk is a wreck, then I obviously am either really busy with work, or my thoughts are just scattered, And but when you clean up your area, when you clean up your space, and you take care of your space, and you have that gratitude for your space, and whatever you have, how minimal it is, you're obviously going to let spirit know that you are in appreciation and to keep bringing more of it. You know, because no one wants to do anything for someone that's not grateful. It's just the bottom line. God's the same way. Spirit's the same way. That's a law of the universe, right? So let me just take a water break real quick. How's it going so far? You guys have any questions? I know I kind of talk fast and appear like I'm rambling, but sometimes I have, other things talking through me. Yeah.
I have a comment.
I'm sorry?
I have a comment. You're talking about how you want to unsubscribe to the stuff that's bothering you, and you also talk about the shadow side.
Right.
If you're not even acknowledging it,
Well,
you can't unsubscribe.
let me clarify what I'm saying. What I meant by that most is like the propaganda that you see on the news, the stuff that the government's trying to shove down your throat, the stuff that doesn't necessarily directly involve you in your immediate world. Okay, that's what I really meant. Thank you for saying that, because I'm glad, because that did need to be clarified. When it comes to people in your space, when it comes to friends or acquaintances or family, someone you run into at the airport, whatever, any kind of interaction is part of your reflection and part of your path. But again, just to clarify, with a lot of the religious dogma and a lot of the stuff that's like way out there that may not necessarily affect you, your immediate world, that's really the stuff that I unsubscribe to. Like the ISIS stuff, I mean, yes, it's awful. It is harming people, and it's like a cancer that we have to transmute. Part of our collective that I spoke of. That's what humanity is saying that's okay still. You see what I'm saying? Until we decide, all of us decide that it's not okay and that will be processed out of our reality.
Part of the shadow side of humanity.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yep, perfect. So she said it's part of the shadow self of humanity, and that's what I mean by the multiple layers, the levels within levels. We think that we're just kind of, like I said, we think we're just kind of coasting along, and whatever happens. It's just not the case whatsoever. There's purpose in almost everything, and pretty much everything. Yeah, sure, everything. And it's important to acknowledge that and recognize it for what it is. You have to literally reprogram your mind from what you've been taught from your parents and society and school. And school doesn't teach you how to think; they teach you how to memorize, right? So and that's part of the program. It's just like go to work, wake up the alarm clock, go to work, do your job, come home, and that's the repetitive hamster wheel that they want to keep us on. They don't like the free thinkers. They don't like the people that are entrepreneurs. They don't like the ones that are out there speaking their mind and really creating change and kind of doing expos like this and stuff like that, because that's going against the grain for them. But we have to do it anyway. We just have to do it anyway. It's purpose. We have to find what we came here to do. And I always say, if you can't find what you're looking for, ask it to find you. I thought that was pretty cool, because that's kind of like surrendering to the universe in a way, in my opinion. It's like, you know what? I feel stuck. I don't know what's going on here. So, show me. And that's part of free will too, because you always have to ask. Most people don't ask; they just accept and they roll over and just take it. And that's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to ask for the assistance, ask your higher selves, ask your spirit guides, and they're not going to do you wrong. They're not going to do you wrong. Your intuition is not going to do you wrong. But it's up to you where you put your energy, where you put your consciousness, where the decisions you make, all the issues that you're going to subscribe to with the propaganda, and time is something we can't get back. I mean, time is more important than money, even though time really doesn't exist. But it is about always being in the present and knowing that that we do come out on top. I mean, I fully agree that we are going to. That we are in a time that is incredibly important, incredibly powerful. It's something that's never been done before. And I believe that the grand decision was made that humanity makes it this time. the earth has been wiped clean a few times before because we just couldn't get it right. Well, this time around, there's like a new dynamic. There's new players in the game. There's new rules. There's new energies. There's new tools. And, we truly are the ones we've been waiting for because, heck, look at all the stuff, just walk around this place. Look at all the creations that people are making. I mean, you got flutes, you got jewelry, you got organite, you got, all kinds of healing tools and ascension tools and homeopathic, holistic. People are people are just getting more amazing all the time, like every single day. And just the discoveries that they're coming out with. I saw a video on Facebook the other day about how bees are now eating cannabis and creating cannabis honey. Who would have thought of that? Michael thought of that. Yes. I'm sorry that someone beat you to it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but. Dude, you're awesome. That's what I mean. Heck, 50 years ago, pot was like the devil. Marijuana was the devil. Now it's like curing cancer. It's helping people with Crohn's disease, helping people with post-traumatic stress disorders, saving trees. It's a superfood. Okay, it's a superfood. It's a gift from God, in my opinion. And I feel that the more truth that comes to the surface with that, the less it can be denied, the less it can be suppressed, and we're going to make those decisions to say, we're ready for this. We want this. Just let it happen, and it will come. It will definitely come. And I'm more excited about the medicine than anything. It makes you feel great. That's fun, all fun and whatnot. But the medicine is like the most important thing because think about how much money people are going to save from pharmaceuticals. Think about how many less deaths are going to be from pharmaceuticals. More people die from eating peanuts than cannabis. Guess how many people have died from cannabis? 0. Okay, so that's the insanity that we're dealing with right now. But we are recognizing the insanity. Okay, we are understanding that we've been lied to our entire lives, and it's time to stand up and make a change. And it doesn't matter if you look like the black sheep. It doesn't matter if your friends think you're crazy. It doesn't matter if your friends fall away and never want to talk to you again. Guess what? That's okay, because you're going to attract the people that are supposed to be there to assist in your path. Okay? And that's the beautiful thing. It's the faith that we all have. Some of the people, you guys are here, just like amazing people. Carrie's been a long time friend. I don't know a lot of you guys, but I've seen your face before and you, and I've seen you before. But we're all here for purpose. Every decision that we've ever made in our entire life has got us in these seats right now, this very second. And so think about that. That's heavy, if you're engaged in change, if you're engaged in not caring what other people think, you're engaged in getting away from the fear and really stepping into your power and being you. If you can put your ego aside and allow all of your aspects of yourself to integrate, you're going to be unstoppable. And that's why I was talking about like the chatter in your mind. Your brain is a chemical computer that is a processor. You see things in your reality that are reflected back to you. Your mind processes them, and then you make decisions based on those thoughts and whatnot. And sometimes and then you have different things pop up in your reality and whatnot. But the idea is to be as efficient in your creation as possible. And by understanding what triggers your fear, understanding your ego when you're saying, "Well, I shouldn't have to do that," or "I don't want to do that," those are the things that we have to recognize that isn't our true self. Is what I'm trying to say. Okay, our true self is like the higher self. Okay, this is a 3D vehicle is being animated by our stream of consciousness. So it works like this. Our body is jacked into the 3D world. We have our light cord that comes from here all the way up to source. On that stream of consciousness, we have our higher aspects of ourselves, kind of like a totem pole, Native American totem pole, okay? We are constantly getting messages from our higher selves. A lot of it is blocked and deflected by our mind processor and by our ego. Okay, our lower self, the illusion, the Maya, right? The third eye, people have heard of the third eye, like the pineal gland, that is your connection to the other realms. I have a friend who has what he calls the God's eye. There are various levels to having your pineal gland open. There's the beginning stage where you can start to see orbs, you see like shadows in your peripheral, and you might see like something come across your room or whatever. That's like the beginning stages of it. And then the next stage would be where you are actually seeing full-on apparitions, and you may be seeing dead relatives or whatnot. You may see a spirit walk through the wall. That's where you're really connecting with like 4 and 5D space. And then beyond that, you actually start to hear and communicate with them. It goes, so that's like the next level. And then the levels beyond that is when you like go into the higher realms, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10D, like the angelic realms, where you're seeing like just light beings, and you're getting like pure consciousness. You're getting unconditional love. You're getting absolute truth. No swaying whatsoever. It's like the way I kind of see it is like polarity. Like we're in a world of polarity where anything goes. It's free will. That's why I was saying we have to ask for permission, because one of the laws of the universe is not to impede on our own free will. Asking kind of overrides that. So the lower in dimension, the wider the spectrum of polarity. So you have it like in 3D, we have it really bad over here, and we have it really good over here, and then everything in between, right? Well, the idea is to find your centeredness in all of it, and understand and see what's coming at you from all those different perspectives, okay, from all those different spectrums. And then that's how we educate ourselves to be able to navigate through this world more efficiently and with less pain, less distress, and hardship and whatnot. So lower dimensions, more polarity. Higher dimensions, less polarity, if any. Like the highest, there's like, it's like goes into oneness, if that makes sense. The idea is we're all going into oneness, where we need to get away from all of the mundane, muggle, ridiculousness that we allow to come in our existence, and be more selective, be more protective, shield ourselves more. You can literally consciously make an energetic shield. It's like, okay, I'm going to put a golden white light around myself before I walk into this establishment, and any bull crap that comes against me is just going to bounce off like a rubber ball. You can literally make those affirmations, and that's your right as a sentient being to do those types of things. And it's pretty cool, because you can literally sometimes when you're like in that present moment, and you've made that decision, and you may see some like negativity going on over here, and it looks like it might be coming closer to you. You like put up that shield. It's like, nope, I'm not dealing with that, and all of a sudden it starts going away from you, just like that. It works. It totally works. But again, to get to these levels, you don't get handed these gifts just because you ask for them. You do have to put in the work. We have to meet God halfway. We have to put in the action. We have to be serious. We have to have the belief in place. We have to hustle, and really more now than ever, there's really no shortcuts. We are being shown very hard lessons, myself included. People that are very close to me are being shown some of the hardest lessons of their life. People are just miserable. It's like, my God, I feel like I'm being tortured. This is awful. But there is relief when you decide it's done. When you make the decision that I've had enough of this, I'm not going to allow it anymore, and that is it. And when you say it with that kind of conviction and intent, then you're basically commanding the universe. You're saying, okay, this is what is going down, this is how it's going to be, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And again, that's part of our gifts for sentient beings, to be able to have those abilities and whatnot. But as far as like, some of the magic that we used to have back in the ancient days, which is coming back, like the ancient Egyptians, in my opinion, they all had their third eyes activated. They were dealing with multiple dimensions all the time. That was like every day for them. They were dealing with spirit, they were dealing with magic, they were dealing with Mother Nature, they were talking to their ancestors. I mean, this was like regular stuff for them. Religion today says that's all witchcraft, that's the devil, that's evil. Don't mess with spirit, don't mess with this. You can't do a card reading. That's like, I don't want anything to do with that. This is bad mojo. Well, everything is a tool. And what you use with that tool is what comes out of it. You could have a knife, and you're going to make the most beautiful, elaborate wedding cake you've ever made in your life. Or you can stab someone with it, right? This is your choice. Your choice. So we all have those God-given rights to make choices. Some things, no matter how hard we try, no matter how hard we wish for it, I feel that there are limitations only because of our life path, only because of our soul contracts, what we've agreed to do before we incarnated in this place. I fully believe that even a lot of us in this room have had powwows in spirit before we were birthed here. And everything that we've ever done, like I said, has led us into this room right now. And what we do from here is our own responsibility. And it's okay to be vulnerable like that a little bit. It's okay to say, man, you know what? I know I'm gonna mess up. I know I'm gonna make mistakes. It's not gonna be perfect, but I'm going to try. I'm going to take a step forward, and I'm going to try. And that's all that's really asked of you. You know, you don't have to be a miracle worker. You don't have to save the world by yourself. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be president of the United States. You know, it is not in my soul contract that I'm going to be president of the United States. I can try as hard as I want to be president of the United States. I know inside that I'm not going to be president of the United States. You know, I'd make a great president. I think I'd make a great president. But it's just not. It's not my path this time around. It's not my path this time around. But again, you know, with some of the magic that's returning, you know, and I call it magic because I put a connotation of beauty onto it. You know, not lower energies, not darkness, not devils and whatever the religious dogma has been pounding us with. It's about, you know, being in, you know, truly who you are, your intention, where your heart is, for the greater good. And you will understand that once your heart is fully in it, it will manifest and flourish to a beautiful flower. If you try to force something, if you take shortcuts, if you run over people to get where you're at, it's going to have a way less of an effect. It's the bottom line. And that's why, like, groups like the Illuminati, the Cabal, whatever you want to call it, any of those negative groups, ISIS, whatever, they can only do so much damage. The universal law is that that stuff is governed based upon where your heart is and your intentions. You want magic in your life, well, be magic. You know, don't be afraid to get into your heart. Don't be afraid to admit when you're wrong. Don't be afraid to, you know, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what the heck am I doing here? You know, like, what am I doing today? Something's got to change. You know, and it's not. You don't want to check out early. Let me tell you, because that's not going to work. You got to put in the work, because we never stop moving. Our spirit never stops working. We never stop breathing until our very last day. Even when we're in dream time, we're fighting battles in the astral realm. We're working on other dimensions. We got like our higher God selves that you see like on the Egyptian pyramids. Like those, a lot of us were those people in those times. Okay, you know, that's why some people have like, oh man, I need to get to Egypt. I don't know why, but I need to get to Egypt. Or I have such a connection with like the Ming Dynasty and like samurai warriors. Well, you probably were one in your past life. Okay, but now is the time where we're like, even like as a samurai back in the day, you may have been this great warrior and this amazing person, but you probably killed 10 people, right? Well, you got to transmute that stuff out of your whole life stream. And in a way, it's kind of not fair that we have to, you know, carry on so much of that weight. But again, I feel that it's more about like the convergence. It's more about the integration. It's more about the uniting the collective, right? To where we're going to just like take a step back. Our soul is going to take a step back, and we're going to look at the whole life stream. We're going to be like, man, I really screwed up there. Wow, we got to fix that. How do we keep that from happening again? And then we're, you know, dealing with it, and then it just, you know, goes back to source, and then we can move on and being the flourishing beings that we were meant to be. See, there's so many constructs in this place right now that keep us in that lower vibe, and a lot of those constructs are being dismantled one by one, slowly, surely but slowly. And that is because it has to be done slowly, because when you get like if anyone's familiar with like a download, where you get like this like this information comes in, you're just like, wow, where'd that come from? That was pretty intense. You're getting like a download from your higher selves, basically, and that's like, it's a packet of information, just like computer files. I could do computer analogies all day long with how our body works and how we're all connected to this. The internet is synthetic consciousness, okay? That's how I look at it. But, but that's, again, when we are getting things like downloads and we're getting like synchronicities and epiphanies, that means that we've had a moment of surrender, we've had a moment of clarity, we've had a moment of giving in to our to the will of spirit, and we've gotten out of our own way, right? And that's like so important. We have to get out of our own way, and a big way to do that is to, one, look at yourself in the mirror and not be afraid of your ugliness, and to actually take action and to do something about it. And then also, don't be afraid to share with others and help people go through the same issues you've gone through. I've been alcohol free for almost 6 years now, and I get people still calling me like, Jim, I need your help, or can you help my friend? They're really in a dark time, and I get on the phone and I drop what I'm doing and I help them, and I don't mind because I know how they feel. And I have to kind of pat myself on the back a little bit because I made the choice to not allow myself to succumb to that bottomless pit anymore. And since then, my life has just accelerated. I'm not kidding. It's been like the people that have come into my life, like my association with like Team Light and like becoming a speaker, getting up in front of all of you. I spoke in the Star Knowledge Conference in Denver, Colorado in December. One of the greatest moments of my life. It was like Chief Golden Light Eagles event. He's been on Ancient Aliens, which is one of my favorite shows. You've probably seen it. He's such an awesome dude. We've become buddies, and it was kind of like, when I got up there, when I first got on stage there, I was like so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like shaking, because I was like all in front of all these amazing, powerful beings, and I was like, of course, I was being recorded like I am now, but I'm getting used to it. But it was a life dream of mine to be associated with these amazing individuals that I looked up to on TV, and then I strived to become like. But the realization was, guys, that I was like them all along. And that's what I had to really, get a grip and say, enough of the window shopping, man. You're already in there. All the abundance and all the magic and beautiful things that you've ever wanted is already there, right on the other side of this stupid wall that you created for yourself. And that was hard, because my ego's like, yeah, right, sure, how'd this happen? Where's this coming from? I'm just being oppressed, man. But meanwhile, I did all of it to myself. And I actually enabled people to help do it to myself. It's like, here, take these keys, and then we're going to just drive off a cliff together. That's kind of how I felt sometimes. But that's where you feel like you have these moments of being hopeless. You have these moments where no one cares, the loneliness, like you're stuck, you're stagnant, you're in quicksand. But I'm telling you, you can have pity parties for yourself, you can feel sorry for yourself, all this stuff. It's okay if it doesn't last very long. Just like see it, process it, put it aside, but as long as you got the lesson from it, like I said, there's no shortcuts. You have to put in the work, but you will overcome it if you decide to. The truth is that I'm sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit. Everything that comes into your life is not by accident. We really do have to learn as many lessons here as possible, because you're not just going to decide you're going to be a brain surgeon and then start going and operating on people's brains. You have to go through 10, 12 years of medical school to do so. Well, we're kind of in a place where, with the help of others and a community like this and coming to these events, where we're going to find something that really pops for us, that really clicks for us, that really turns on a light bulb for us. And it could be just like seeing what Chris has wearing right here. I look at Chris, I love this dude. He's wearing stuff that people would think he's, nuts for doing. And I think he's one of the coolest dudes. And you know what he's doing? He's being himself. He doesn't care what society says. He doesn't care what the dogma tells him. He is being himself. And that's what I love about him. He's letting his freak flag fly, and that's what is so needed right now, you know? Like, don't
Tie on in a suit for 30 years.
Yeah, man. I've worked in corporate too, man. It's not easy. It's not easy, but again, you know, not everyone's meant for that. Of course, you know, we all do play our parts, and you know, everyone needs to. Everyone makes burgers, and everyone needs to pump gas, and everyone needs to, you know, do the things that may be less desirable. You know, I've done all kinds of stuff. You know, I've mopped floors. You know, whatever. But it's made me who I am today. Let me just do a quick time check to make sure we're good. Okay, we got about 7 minutes. So, so yeah, guys, my goal today was just to, like I said, be transparent with you, be real, not afraid to share some of my darkness with you, and that's like, you know, like what they say in like AA. It's like, you know, once you submit to it, that's like half the battle, right? Once you recognize it, then you're like halfway there. Excuse me. Well, from there on, you identify the problem, and then you start working on the solution as the next logical step, right? But we're doing it on a grand scale now. Not only are we being forced to transmute all the skeletons and cobwebs and ugly stuff within us that's going to come to the surface. It could even be in the form of acne. If you like have this episode of like your face is breaking out, it's like, where is this coming from? I'm 40-some years old and I'm getting, you know, zits. Where's this coming from? Well, it's your body changing. It's the energy changing. It's things shifting within inside of yourself. It's your consciousness affecting your 3D reality, and it's the processing. It's the pushing out. It's the physical piece of things coming to the surface, and that's okay. It is okay as long as you deal with it properly. And it will never come back again. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with the person named Daryl Anka. He channels the being called Bashar, which is amazing. A lot of people don't agree with channeling, and I'm not 100% on board with it either. But I can't deny the messages that comes through this guy because he's just on point. It's just beautiful. And I saw like a 3-minute clip of him one time. He was talking about all the ugliness in the world, all the war, all the horrible things that happen to innocent children, you know, things like ISIS and all the darkest of the dark. Like, why is it so intense? Why is it so bad? And he said, because we need to see it right in front of our faces so that we decide to never do that again. And that's exactly where we are at right now. The energies that are coming in right now from the galactic center, the beings that are coming in to assist us right now in the physical and non-physical, and believe me, there's billions, okay? All here right now, focusing on this blue planet in the middle of nowhere for the grand event, okay? The shift in consciousness, where we move from a lower density to a higher density, where we become less dense, where our bodies change from carbon to silicone base, where we are being able to bring in more energy, raise our vibration, ascend with Mother Earth. We are riding Mother Earth. We are in this together. We are in harmony with Mother Earth. The more we punish it, the more we punish ourselves. And so the idea is to, you know, face ourselves, get rid of the crap, get connected with Spirit, get out in Mother Nature. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Find people out there that are doing your thing. Utilize the internet. Get in meetup groups, get in small groups, home groups. Come to more events like this. Don't be afraid to go up and talk to someone. Everyone here's friendly. No one's going to bite your head off. I mean, I just walk up to people and say, man, dude, I really love your necklace. Or, hey, that's really cool, you know. And we have a great conversation. We exchange emails. All of a sudden we're buds. And we see them at the next event. Hey, I remember you. That was a great time, you know. All the time, just like you and I, you know, all of us, you know, right? And so I believe that, and I know a lot of my colleagues and friends in my community would agree that we are in an amazing time where we are going to go to sleep for a very brief moment and we're going to wake up to a new world. It's kind of like the Bible says, like a twinkling of an eye, a flashing in the pan, where we just wake up to a new world, and all of a sudden, like all the constructs that have been impeding our free will and our creation and abundance for so long are just going to be torn down one by one, and the more they're torn down, the more we get to rise up, the more we get to be who we really are. Because things like, you guys see all the cell phone towers that just look like something out of like Nazi Germany. Who knows what's going on with those things, but they're literally sending out frequencies that keep you from going into the astral realm and doing your work. If that isn't messed up, I don't know what is. That is called spiritual disconnection. And when we see those problems, we can make choices to not allow that to happen anymore. As we shed light on the darkness, that's exactly what we were doing. Don't be afraid to shed light on the darkness. You don't have to be some kind of trooper that's like walking down the street, like, doing all these crazy demonstrations or whatnot. But my point is that, when you make the decision to be that change, you're going to see the change. You're going to be much happier. You're going to be living more in the present moment, and your world's just going to be better for not only yourself, but everyone around you. Don't be afraid to lose friends. Don't be afraid to lose a possession, because that stuff's, the possessions obviously are replaceable, right? So the idea is to be attached to as little as possible in this world, because this is the illusion. Spirit is the real world. Once our physiology changes, our vibration raises, our third eyes get activated more, we will see the truth for what it is. We'll be able to connect with spirit even more, the angelic realms, and anchor in all those energies to lift this place up, and we will merge with them. They're waiting for us. We're not waiting for someone to come save us. We're not waiting for a miracle. They're waiting for us to step up and to handle it. And that's what's got to be done. So, guys, thank you for being here. I want to tell you also that I do have a few DVDs left. If you're interested, they're only $20. I think I have like 4 or 5 left, so let me know. And we're all going to be at Serpent Mountain next week, which is going to be an amazing event in Southern Ohio, down in Peebles, Ohio. Chief Golden Light Eagle, Cliff from Hootie, from Ancient Aliens, all you guys will be there, and we'll be doing some drum circles and a lot of ceremony and good speakers and good food and just community and connecting with nature and connecting with the energies of the mountain, because that thing is amazing, let me tell you. I had an experience there where I was dealing with some 5D stuff, and it was pretty wild. Serpent Mountain. Peebles, Ohio is about 45 minutes east of Cincinnati. It's about 2 hours from here. But there's some pretty amazing stuff going on there, and hopefully you guys will make an effort to come down and get involved more with the community, and find yourself. We're finding ourselves and creating ourselves at the same time. So just ask for it. Ask for what you want, and don't be afraid to go get what you want, and be conscious of what's coming into your reality and what triggers you, and don't be afraid to face it, and because you can get over it and step into your true self. So namaste. Thank you very much.